but thou, glory be to thee. Truly I am one of those who magnify. There is no God but thou, glory be to thee, my Lord, and the Lord of my fathers, the ancients.
شنو اسمك؟ حيدر. حيدوري ما شاء الله. ايش قد عمرك؟ 12. 12 ما شاء الله. هاي شنو؟ وين حلو؟ زين؟ Yeah, he said he's here by himself. He's got no mother or father. Oh, look at Hayduri here. He's so happy with his toy. Last time he smiled like this. Who knows? Brothers and sisters, you can see the excitement here. This child may have a mental illness as well, ADHD or something like that. But here in Iraq, there's nothing to help them. There's nothing to give them service or aid them and assist them through these hard times. And on top of that, he's also an orphan. Brothers and sisters, with your donations, you can give children like this happiness, health, and education, and give them, most of all, a better future and chance at life.
Your support, their strength. Sponsor an orphan and witness the power of compassion.
More than 3,000 members of the Shia Hazara community have been killed since September 2011, according to reports.
Hundreds of Iraqi pilgrims arrive at the house of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi.
On Saturday, the Saudi authorities executed 21 people on other charges.
Taliban abusing humanitarian aid in Afghanistan.
Shia Rights Watch expresses its condemnation on the targeted bombings in the Iraqi capital Baghdad.
There is so much happening that now is the right moment to bring together the biggest stories in one place at one time. It's ambitious, it's a first for the Shia around the world. Join me, Ayoub Nueno, for Shia Waves, live only on Imam Hussein TV free.
With more and more victims of war and poverty, the Middle East has seen a surge in patients seeking medical aid. Iraq alone has 2.4 million people without access to any form of medical assistance. In Afghanistan, due to the lack of funding and devastating conflict, the health service is at breaking point. Imam Hussein Charity aims to help provide a better future for these impoverished patients, aiding them with finances for their prescriptions as well as dialysis of their kidneys. You can help our brothers and sisters with purchases of prescriptions for just £20, and for £200 help a patient with a dialysis procedure. To donate or for more information, visit www.imamhusseincharity.com.
السلام عليكم. أنا اسمي حمود. أبويا ميت. بشر. وأنا أريد فلوس. ومعاي.
لا تبكي. اليوم مرات واحد يفتح لي الباب ما بي فجأة ما بي. أنا أبوي كسر ظهري لسه غصته بقلبي.
بعد يومين وصل بي من السرطان توفت. يعني يرجع هنا يعني نشتري لنا هدوم بالعيد يعني هدوم مال ذيك السنة.
لا غسالة لا جيزر كل شيء ما عندي. هاي الرطوبة وهاي الطينة كل شيء ما عندي، واليوم طحينة ما عندي. اليوم 10 طحين ما عندي شاهد الله شهادة.
هاي محروقة من ورا الكهرباء. عندي كهرباء ماخذة من الجواري ما عندي كهرباء. ويوم يهدد بي راح يقطعها لي.
غسالة ما عندي، جاب لي واحد ذاك اليوم غسالة طلعت عاطلة، التلفزيون مالتهم عاطل، الحمام ما عندهم يغسلون به، ما عندي كل شيء أنا حايرة بيهم والله العظيم.
شنو تحاجي؟ شنو تودي له رسالة؟ شنو تسولف وياه؟
بس يريد يجي.
بس تريده يجي؟
For those of you who are watching, whatever you can give, you know, whether it's £50, £20, £10, £5, whatever you can give, please give to help people like this so that they can improve their life standard. They can become more healthy and they can be more motivated to go and, you know, achieve greater things.
Generosity doesn't need an audience. It just needs a heart willing to make a difference in silence. Donate now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Ahkam SOS, the show where we discuss various Islamic topics and principles. I'm your host Sayyid Muthanna Al-Musawi, and with me is the esteemed Sheikh Ali. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you? Inshallah you're well.
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Sheikhna, so last week we had an important question that we missed out. I want to go back to it because I see it's a very, very strong question, very, very good question to our viewers. So I just want to ask that as the very first question of this episode. How can we increase our taqwa?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. In terms of increasing the taqwa, of course, you have to establish the base for acquiring taqwa and God consciousness or God fearing state or that feeling, and that's of course by obeying Allah Azza wa Jal, أطيعوا Allah, obeying the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وأطيعوا الرسول, and to obey أهل البيت عليهم السلام وَلِلْأَمْرِ مِنْكُمْ. If we obey them accordingly, listen to the instructions, the Holy Quran's statements, implement the obligatory and wajib acts, and refrain from the evil and forbidden acts, then of course you have obtained taqwa as a result. So you have to have that establishment first to be to have complete taslim, as mentioned in the Holy Quran, the taslim, submission to Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the only way we can reach taqwa and piety and God consciousness and fearing as well. Without it, it's going to be, I don't say impossible, but this is the only way. أطيعوا Allah, obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal, and those that Allah has designated or delegated to follow and obey and imitate. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult.
Right. Ahsant, Sheikhna. Now we will go on to the next questions after I say this very, very quickly. I need to remind the people at home that this is a live show. So we are accepting any and all questions. So make sure to send in your questions through whatever you are watching. If you are watching on our channel, you can call in at the numbers below, or you can send a message, send your questions in. If you're watching on YouTube, however, you can send in your questions in the comment section and we will get through to answering them. Okay, let us begin now. So we've got a question from WhatsApp now. It's asking, in European countries, public baths are built with certain considerations. Whether or not it is in the direction of the Qibla is not one of their considerations, unlike the situation in Muslim countries. Is it permissible for us to use such facilities if we do not know where the direction of the Qibla is? And the second question also about that, if we know the baths do face the direction of the Qibla, is it permissible to use them?
Well, initially, the ruling is that you're not allowed to use the bathroom, towards the Qibla or the other side of the Qibla. So it's the front or the back side of the bathroom, in which it's forbidden. So in terms of the bathrooms which are built towards the Qibla, of course, you have to move to the right or to the left to avoid relieving yourself towards the Qibla,
right,
or opposite the other side of the Qibla. So if one can change the direction of the seating, the actual the seat, not towards the Qibla, then that's fine. Otherwise, you have to sit to the right or to the left angle of the seat. In terms of that, we don't know exactly where the Qibla is, of course. If one can find out through his, let's say, mobile phone, Qibla direction, for example, to avoid, using that bathroom out of sudden, which is built towards the Qibla, for example. So we have apps in which we can easily define if this bathroom is towards the Qibla or not. So that can be easily defined through your mobile phone, to find out exactly. As we do when we go to, outside, let's say the city to pray in the parks, for example. We use these apps to define the Qibla
to make
direction.
sure which way the Qibla is. Okay, we've got a question now coming from YouTube. Is it true that Imam Hussein alayhi salam has vomited his liver?
You see, the narration says, يَلْفُظ كَبِدَهُ أو أحشاءه. In Arabic words, sometimes the meaning, the word is given is not exactly what it meant. It meant the inside parts of the, let's say, the stomach, for example, other parts, blood clots and so forth. So it could say liver, but it's not actually the liver itself. It could be little pieces, of the liver also were brought out. But in overall, it means ahsha, means the inner side of the body, from the stomach side and other bits and pieces in which were affected by the poison.
Okay. Another question now from YouTube. If someone says salam to me while I'm praying, how should I answer them? And when I keep on returning to the same... Okay, let's answer the first question. If someone says salam to me while I'm praying, how should I answer them?
Saying the salam is musta'ab and desirable to initiate the greeting. But to respond, it becomes obligatory and wajib. So if you hear someone saying Assalamu alaikum, you have to respond. It's wajib. And this wajib and obligation is also applied in the salah. So if you were praying and somebody came inside the room and said Assalamu alaikum, you must stop your prayer. I mean, your dhikr, whatever you sing, hamd, surah, tasbihat, and say Assalamu alaikum, respond, and then go back to where you left. And carry on with the tasbih or dhikr or hamd and surah. It's wajib to respond.
To respond to the salam.
Yes, even in the salah, yes.
Okay.
While praying.
And then the second part of that question, when I keep on returning to the same haram sin, how do I ask Allah to forgive me and guide me to stop doing the sin?
Well, you have to start from yourself, in terms of those who addict, drug addict, na'udhu billah, or smoke addict, or even alcohol addict. They would stop it by making a genuine decision that we're going to stop either drugs or alcohol, or even those who smoke heavily, let's say 20, 30 cigarettes a day, for example.
Yeah.
Or let's say they have shisha 4 or 5 times a day. It's your decision. Allah Azza wa Jalla made this world as a free world for the human to choose. You have the free will to choose imma shakiran wa imma kafura, to be thankful or to be disbelieving, for example. Na'udhu billah. So it's your choice. You have to take the first step. Allah Azza wa Jalla will, you know, deal with the other steps.
Yeah.
So come towards Allah Azza wa Jalla at least with one step, and you'll see, inshallah, things will change gradually.
So you have to make the effort yourself.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then Allah will finish it off
Yes,
for you.
yes.
Okay, interesting. We've got a message now from WhatsApp. Not really a question, but it says, Assalamu alaikum. I'm a muqallid of Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi here in America. I just wanted to send you and your Ahkam SOS team the greetings. Wa alaikum assalam.
Alaikum assalam.
I also want to say to the viewers again at home, don't be shy. We are accepting any questions, and inshallah the Sheikh will get through to answering them. If you're watching on YouTube, send in your questions in the comment section. Any other platforms that you are watching on, you've got the numbers shown below. You can scan the QR code and you can send in your questions through there. Okay, we've got a question now from YouTube. It says, can I pray qada prayer every day to make up for the ones I missed when I was younger?
Yes, indeed. If you have missed prayers or fasts, you have to make them up later as qada. So you start gradually praying, let's say, with each daily prayer, obligatory daily prayer, you would pray at least one prayer with each next to each other. So you have a dhuhr, asr, wajib, daily prayer, and then when you finish, you start praying the qada of the missed dhuhr, asr, and so on. You keep until you finish all those days in which you've missed praying or even fasting.
Yeah.
So gradually you can finish them.
You can finish them. What if you don't know the amount of missed prayers?
You do the minimum that you're certain of. Yeah. So if it's
the minimum
is it 3 months or 4 months, then you stick to 3 months, which you're more certain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We've got another question from YouTube. It's asking, do we Shia also believe and care about 25 prophets?
I don't know what he or she means about 25 prophets. In overall, we believe that Allah sent 124,000 prophets from Adam to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they also had vicegerents and awsiya, and the vicegerents are appointed by Allah through that prophet. As Musa alayhi salam asked Allah to appoint Harun, and so forth. So yes, the prophets, we believe that they are from Allah Azza wa Jal, and also their awsiya and vicegerents are also chosen by Allah Azza wa Jal.
Okay, now we've got a message from WhatsApp, a question from WhatsApp. It says, I am a muqallid of Sayyid Ali Sistani, and I would like to ask, which case is it halal to donate your organs, or whether there is an exception?
In overall, ulama would allow for donation of organs. The issue is about, in which they discuss, and maybe many, if not majority, would not accept, is to donate your external organs. So you can't give your eyes, for example.
Right.
That would be disrespecting the deceased. Imagine somebody who just died. He makes the will that, take all my body parts. So that is in which not allowed by many of the ulama. But the internal, of course, again, there's a debate with this regard that some would allow it. Yes, you can donate your organs, like kidney and so forth.
Kidney and those sort of things.
Yeah, internal parts. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to again, a quick reminder to the viewers at home. This is a live show. Any and all questions, don't be shy. Send it through YouTube Live. You can send it in the comment section. WhatsApp, you can scan the QR code down below, or the number you can call in, or the WhatsApp number. So send in your questions and we will get through to answering them. We've got a message now from YouTube. Is all types of music haram?
In terms of the music, now some ulama came forward and divided the music into two types. Entertaining music, like jazz, rock, DJ and so forth, and non-entertaining, or let's say classical music. And they said that the ones which are forbidden is the one which are entertaining music, in which played or used in immoral places, like nightclubs and so forth.
Yeah.
But the ones which are allowed are the classical ones, which are not really that kind of entertaining music.
Yeah.
However, some ulama, Ayatollah Shirazi, would say that all types of music is forbidden, even the ones which are classical. So even the music which is played in, let's say, some news channels, you know, the intro, outro, you can't even listen to this type of music, which is not entertaining sometimes, just classical music. So it depends who you follow. Some would allow, some wouldn't allow.
And then it's the same message. It's a follow-up question. It's asking, if I go to an event and there is music and dancing all around me, can I just sit out and not participate, or is it haram to be in that environment?
You see what, again, the ulama say, we have two types of listening to the music. We have one which is known as istima', to listen carefully to the lyrics and to the melody and the song. Of course, that's forbidden. But we have sima', which means to listen in background. The sima' or the listening in the background is allowed. Like when you go to the restaurants, shopping centers, there's music in the background, but you're actually not listening. You don't pay attention to the songs and the melody. You're doing your shopping. You're playing your sports, for example. You are actually eating and talking and chatting with your friends and family members. That kind of listening or sima' is allowed, but to listen carefully to the melody, for example, of course, that's not allowed.
Yeah. So if it's in the background, and you're focusing on something else, it's completely fine.
Yes.
Okay. Now we've got a question from YouTube. It's asking, recently this person started praying tahajjud today, and they want to ask if, as a student, they are praying 11 rak'ahs, but sometimes it's not possible to do so. Can they pray 3 or 4 rak'ahs?
Yes, in terms of the mustahabbat is more flexible in terms of performing these desirable acts. So you can just pray 2 rak'ah of shafa', for example, and that's it. And you can even start after Isha prayer if you can't wake up early during the night. Especially for students studying, you have to sleep early, so you can pray your Isha and straight after the Isha stand up and perform these 2 rak'ah, for example. Or if you can do the 11, that would be, of course, credit.
If you have the time or something like that. Okay. Now another question from YouTube. It asks, those of authority in the verse are part of ibadah or no? And did Allah leave it to election who those individuals would be?
You see, in terms of election or Allah's choice and delegation and appointment, it's very clear in the Holy Quran. When it comes to representing Allah Azza wa Jalla on earth, to take the position of the prophets, then you have to be to that standard and status. You cannot bring somebody who was in the Jahiliyyah time, in the pagan times, who used to drink alcohol and worship idols, to be Khalifa of Allah on earth, or to be the Imam or the Vicegerent of the Prophet. Because Allah says, I appoint the Imam and the Khalifa. إِنِّي جَاعِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامًا. Allah says to Ibrahim, I appoint you as Imam. إِنِّي جَاعِلُ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Both words are mentioned in the Quran with Allah's appointment. So they have to be done through Allah Azza wa Jal, and then that Prophet would convey the message of Allah. As the Prophet did on the day of Ghadir, when he said, Man kuntu mawla fa'ali mawla. He appointed Ali alayhi salam on the day of Ghadir by the order from Allah Azza wa Jal. So we can't have a Khalifa who was chosen by people. Yes, maybe for the purpose of to be a war commander, for example, to be a governor of a city, or that kind of things, but not to be Allah's vicegerent on earth and Hujjah of Allah and Allah's proof on earth, except through the Prophet's appointment.
Okay. We've got another question from YouTube now. Can a Shia be married to a tabligh from Trinidad.
So what's that exactly?
From Trinidad, the country.
You see, in terms of marriage?
Yes. Can a Shia be married to
You see, in terms of the marriage, we're only allowed to marry from the Muslims, other sects of Islam who believe in the Shahadatain and they believe in the Prophet of Muhammad and the Holy Quran, and from Ahlul Kitab.
Yeah.
We can marry them. Of course, this applies for the Ahlul Kitab, only the men can marry the woman from Ahlul Kitab, and not the vice versa or the opposite. And from the Ahlul Sunnah, of course, men and women can marry from both sides. That should be fine. So it depends, the country that they mention, is it Ahlul Kitab majority or Ahlul Sunnah majority? It depends. But other than these two groups, no, you cannot marry other religions and faiths.
Only from the people of
Ahlul
the book,
Kitab
Ahlul Kitab, yes.
and Ahlul Sunnah, yes.
Ahlul Sunnah. Okay. Another question from YouTube now. It is asking, if I am praying and my younger siblings start crying or calling me, should I finish praying or should I stop and go to them?
The Prophet ﷺ, he used to hasten his prayers when he used to pray Jama'ah in his mosque in Medina, while there were women also praying on the other side. And when he used to hear the cry of the kids, of the children, he would hasten his salah. So if you can hasten and quicken your salah to catch up with
hasten your salah.
That's the option, yeah.
Yeah. Another quick reminder to the viewers at home, this is a live show. I keep on repeating myself, just want to remind you, just don't be shy. Send in your questions, anything you have a doubt about, anything you want to know, anything you want to learn further about. Send in your questions and the Sheikh will get through to answering them. There's the phone numbers below, there's the WhatsApp number, you can scan the QR code, or if you're watching on YouTube live, you can send in your questions in the comment section and the Sheikh will get through to answering them, inshallah. Okay, we've got another question now from YouTube. It's asking, is reading a romantic novel haram? Like I felt to enjoy to read.
You see, initially, anything that would arouse the lust or would lead to some kind of committing sins, that's forbidden. Now, through reading, watching, listening, whatever is that means or platform or tool is not allowed. That causes, as I've said, forbidden acts or lust or feelings and so forth. In terms of just reading books, let's say a novel book, a story book, of course one should preserve his time and save his time for the deeds and the acts in which are useful for the humanity or for his faith. That's the best option. So try to find something more useful that you can make use of. Maybe you can learn other languages, for example, to be able to debate with others or to know about other faiths, for example. What do they believe in? So you can debate with them and guide them towards the right path, for example. That would be a good choice, for example.
Ahsant. It's a follow-up question on the question that we just had now. It's asking, how can they overcome an addiction such as these romantic novels? Because they find that for themselves as an addiction to carry on reading it again and again and again.
I think they just have to make the decision to stop it, as I've said before. Maybe the way as you go for a holiday, for a 2 weeks holiday, for example, you leave the books, then you have no choice to leave them and go somewhere else and have some time, maybe ziyarah time, maybe umrah time, spend it there, and then when you come back, you can feel that you don't need anymore to read these books, for example. So you have to have some kind of excuse to break this ice and just leave reading these types of books. And especially the books which are, they call it corruptive, or let's say, would deviant books, in other words. So one should be very careful.
That will take you away from learning the faith.
Would cause doubts in your faith, from Allah's existence to the Imam of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam.
Ahsant. We've got another question now asking, can someone meet Prophet Muhammad in this world, even if it's not in a dream?
Well, this is something that maybe concealed from us. We don't know exactly how this works, to be honest. We are not at that position of the Ma'soom alayhi salam to be able to reach that knowledge and position. So we don't know, to be honest. That's the answer.
Yeah. We've got another question now from WhatsApp. It asks, I really want to learn Arabic so I can go to do the ziyarah of the Imams alayhim salam and communicate with the people there. And the question is, do you know Arabic and is it difficult to learn?
Well, Arabic, maybe the best way that I've seen that they started to learn the Quranic Arabic, the way of, there's actually a book called Quranic Arabic, so you would learn Arabic through the Quranic verses. So that's a good start for the one who wants to learn Arabic. And then you have to communicate, find a friend who speaks Arabic and talk to him and try to communicate with words and sentences slowly. That's the second option.
But the best way is to, of course, read the Quran, read these passages and verses from that.
You need a teacher for this purpose.
Okay.
I think if you find a teacher in your local mosque, that would be a credit to learn Quran and Arabic as well.
Right.
But for the betterment of your language, then you can actually have a friend who speaks Arabic.
Yeah.
That would help a lot.
I'm sure also in there are other options such as watching YouTube videos. There are plenty of YouTube videos online of how to actually say the words.
Exactly,
Perfect pronunciation, or you can literally just copy what you hear and then just say it, right?
If you believe it or not, we have people in Iraq, for example, other parts of Arabia and in the Gulf, they learned English properly with the accent, either American or British accent, through these YouTube channels and self-study and so forth. And they speak very well. I mean, they use the words, even the accent, without visiting Europe or the US, for example, without living there. So you can learn other languages from your home, the comfort of your home,
Right. We've got a question now from YouTube. Great question. It asks, how can someone be a true follower of Imam Ali alayhi salam?
We have lots of narrations with this regard that what brings you close to us is your piety and taqwa, as mentioned in the beginning of the session. The more pious you are and observing piety and God-fearing, the more you are close to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And the more you implement the obligatory acts that they've instructed and told us to do so. For example, praying on time. Don't delay your salah. For example, paying your dues and khums, zakat, sadaqah, whatever you can. For example, helping others who are in need. If you follow these steps of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they've told us, then of course we get closer to them. Salamullah alayhim ajma'in. But if I want to play with the fire, na'udhu billah, that in one hand I try to get close to Ahlul Bayt, but I go back to home and I start to chat in the middle of the night with the opposite gender, na'udhu billah. That's not the correct way, for example. Or listen to music. Or, for example, play music in my own wedding, for example, or my kid's wedding, for example. That's not the right way. And the correct way for you to get close to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So you have to abandon all these forbidden acts as much as you can, and then also implement the wajib acts. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. The Quran states that observe piety as much as you can.
As much as you can.
It doesn't mean that leave the others. No, you have to do them. It's wajib, but try your best to implement all these instructions, inshallah.
Inshallah. We've got a question now from YouTube. Why anytime I hear anything about the Ahlul Bayt, I always cry until I am weak?
Of course, we have in Ziyaratul Jami'ah, Kalamukum Nur, your words are illumination and light. Mentioning the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam would bring softness to the heart. Especially when you mention Imam Hussein alayhi salam, would break your heart and softens your heart, of course. And this shows that this individual has a true iman and belief in Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. It's not easy. You know, some people, even if you recite Noha, recite eulogy, they don't cry. They don't get that kind of, you know, feeling about the Masab of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So, and we have a narration which says people who don't cry because of their sins, because of the hard heart, that they've reached that stage because of committing sins, stopped the tears to be poured because of Allah's fearing, for example, khawf min Allah Azza wa Jal, or for Masab Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So the less sins, the more softening gets your heart and gets closer to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam.
And the more you will be able to cry.
Exactly, yes.
Another question on that. How would one be able to break the strong heart for them to be able to cry?
Well, as I've said, to implement the wajib and to refrain from the haram, the less sin we do, the closer we get to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and to the Holy Quran. I remember someone, and he was a Muslim, and he said to me that I don't like reciting Quran. I just don't like it. Okay. So you see how Allah knows what he did in his life, what he committed of sins, or even could be crimes, that reached the stage that he doesn't want to listen or even read Quran. So it's important that one should observe himself, as they say, muhasabat al-nafs, to have this kind of accountability of your deeds every day. This is what you did. If you did well, then you thank Allah and praise Allah Azza wa Jal. If you did bad, then you ask Allah's forgiveness and istighfar. In this way, we can reach to some kind of perfection, some kind of Allah satisfaction.
Ahsant.
Inshallah ta'ala.
Ahsant, inshallah. To all the viewers at home, we will now be going on a break. So make sure to send in all your questions. Don't be shy. You've got all the details below. If you're watching on YouTube, you can send it in the comment section. But I believe the Sheikh now has a hadith for us that he would like to say.
Yes, indeed. We have a hadith from Imam Amir al-Mu'min Ali alayhi salam. He says, ثلاث من حافظ عليها سعد. Three things that if you protect them, if you keep them, observe them, you'll be glad and happy in this life. Wow. Number one, إذا ظهرت عليك نعمة فأحمد الله. If you have a blessing, you've been given something, wealth, children, I don't know, fame, whatever is a blessing, then make sure that you thank Allah Azza wa Jalla for it. وإذا أبطأ عليك عنك الرزق فاستغفر الله. And if you see that the sustenance is getting weak, or you have debts, unpaid bills, unpaid mortgage, you got financial problem, crisis, then ask Allah's repentance and forgiveness, because you actually seems to be you have something in the middle, somewhere is not right. So ask Allah's forgiveness and say istighfar every day. وإذا أصابتك شدة فأكثر من قول لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. And if you have faced difficulties, calamities, anxieties, and say these words, لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. And in other narration, it says that one of the jewel or treasures is to say لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Indeed.
Ahsant, Ahsant Sheikhna. Now to the viewers again, we will be going on a break, so stay tuned for any questions that you would like to be answered. Send them in and we will answer them after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars. Is it permissible to plant trees by or over
Islam
the
established based on peace and non-violence?
Is it permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women? To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
For those interested in an Islamic law book by Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi, please WhatsApp the Ahkam SOS team at the following number to place your order today: +44 7415 092155. The Islamic Law Book, available exclusively in hard copy, contains religious questions answered by Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Shirazi. Order your hard copy today. For those interested in an Islamic law.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Ahkam SOS, where we have been asking the Sheikh about the various topics and principles and your questions at home. I just want to give a quick reminder to the viewers at home. This is a live show, don't be shy, send in your questions, all the questions before we finish off this episode. So make sure to send them in. If you're watching on YouTube, send it in the comment section. And if you're watching on other platforms, send it in the numbers shown below or the WhatsApp number. Thank you very much. We've got a question now from YouTube. It asks, I've had many discussions with Muslim brothers who insist it is wrong not to believe that one day we will see the face of Allah. How do you address this?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Initially, we have to understand the Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah's oneness. That the Quran states, nothing is like Him. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. This is the key for understanding the oneness of Allah Azza wa Jal. That nothing is like Allah Azza wa Jal. And nothing means no, He is not part of the creation. If you say we're going to see Allah's face, then He's part of the creation. If you say that we're going to see Allah's body, na'udhu billah, then He became part of the creation. And now you have made a restriction to Allah Azza wa Jal. Within this frame, within this, size.
Of human qualities.
Then He's part of the creation.
Yeah.
Then He hasn't got that much value in terms of being, Allah Azza wa Jal as a creator.
Yeah.
Because He's part of the creation, like the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal, who are ibadullah, Allah's servants. So He become part of the servants, but who, So we have to differentiate between the Khaliq and the Makhluq. We have a creator and the creation. And the creator, laysa kamithlihi shay. Nothing is like Allah Azza wa Jal.
Yes.
He created this creation when there was nothing at all. Billions of years, indeed.
Yeah, so it's basically just to not give Allah human qualities to basically restrict them.
And by the way, when we read in the Holy Quran, Yadullah, for example, وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ, these are metaphors. وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ, it doesn't mean that Allah came with the angels on the day of judgment. No, Allah's mercy comes, Allah's, let's say, orders come. It doesn't mean that Allah Himself comes with His own feet. That's basically unacceptable, Quranically, and even through the Sunnah and the tradition of Ahlul Bayt and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These are metaphors. Yadullah means the power of Allah Azza wa Jalla. The hand of Allah means the power, the strength. It doesn't mean Allah has hand. That's why when the people or the scholars of other sects distance themselves from Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, this is the result. When you don't take your knowledge, as the Prophet advised many times, that to follow the Book of Allah and my progeny. When the people neglected and left the progeny of the Holy Prophet, then they ended up in, na'udhu billah, embodying Allah Azza wa Jal in a shape, na'udhu billah, like other religions.
Okay, we've got a question from YouTube. It's asking, how can someone be in the 313 army of Imam Mahdi, peace and blessings be upon him?
Of course, Allah Azza wa Jal, as He chose His prophets amongst the creation of Allah, He also will choose the 313 again, from the best of His creation, after the prophets and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt and the vicegerents of the prophets. That they are the best of the best in the time of the Imam Salamullah alayhi. So as I've said, observing taqwa and piety as much as you can. Inshallah, that one day you would be one of them. And of course, reciting the dua al-ahd every morning to be to join the Imam alayhi salam. Dua al-nudba on Friday mornings. And we do our best to be part of this great, the Imam's return and reappearance, inshallah.
The 313 refers to the number of generals. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Sheikhna? Yeah.
They will lead the world. Yeah.
And then the actual army is much bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yes.
Much bigger. So you can still be a part of the army.
The army, inshallah. Yes.
We've got a question from YouTube. What do you think of praying behind Sunni imams?
You see, in the Shia fiqh and jurisprudence, we have the issue of adalatul imam, that the imam must be just. And this is for the Shia community and the imams. So if I go to a mosque, let's say in Africa, for example, and that mosque is a Shia mosque, and I don't know the imam who is praying there, I don't know him, I cannot pray behind that Shia imam, because I have to establish the justiceness or the adala of this imam who is praying by asking the people, if I know him, for example. You don't have to go through his heart and dig his biography, and no, it's just ask people, for example, he's a pious, he's an individual who doesn't commit sins and so forth. That would be enough. But you have to establish that he's just, let alone to be a non-imami, in which of course we can't. Indeed, yes.
Okay. We've got a question from WhatsApp. It's asking a question about Hawza studies. Is the minimal duration of Hawza in England shorter compared to Iraq and Iran? And he then follows up with a comment saying, I want to become a sheikh as soon as possible.
Well, you see, in terms of studying, if you want to study, let's say, medicine, biology, all these types of modern studies, you have to go to the Europe or the US to study. You have to go to the well-known universities.
For the top.
Exactly.
Yes.
Medicine, to be doctor, and so forth. But to be a Hawza student, you have to go back to the Hawza seminaries in Qom or Najaf or Karbala or other places, maybe Mashhad as well. They have Hawza, and even I think Kadmia, they have Hawza as well. A mini Hawza could be. So you have to go to these places to learn the proper Hawza studies, especially with the Arabic language. We have Nahwu, you have Sarf, you have Qawa'id in terms of Ilm al-Kalam, you have Ilm al-Dirayah, Ilm al-Hadith. Lots of things that you need to establish in the beginning. Of course, if they offer it in the West and you can't go to the East, that's fine. You still can gain this knowledge, but you have to spend more time, more efforts. You have to read more books to be able to catch up with those who are now in Qom or Najaf.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay. We've got a question now from YouTube. If a Shia man is married to a Sunni woman, would their children follow Shia or Sunni?
Of course, the father who's a Shi'i, should try to guide his wife towards the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. As I've said, Hadith of Thaqalain or Thaqalain, the famous Hadith, Kitab Allah wa Atat Ahl Bayti, mentioned in the Sahih of the Muslimin as well, to follow the Book of Allah and the Prophet's progeny. This is the correct way.
Yes.
We don't have in the books of Ahlul Sunnah or Shia that I left two weighty things, the Book of Allah and my companions, at all. At all. So we have to go back to the true Islam and those who are the true representatives of Islam, who represent Islam truly, and they are Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salamullah alayhim. That's the best way. Try to educate them and nurture them with the love of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salamullah alayhim.
Ahsant. A question now from YouTube asking, what do you think of cursing in public the companions that were evil?
You see, in terms of cursing, of course, we have to go back to the ulama with this regard. And then in terms of observing taqiyya or observing the opposite of taqiyya. again, it has its own rulings. Wajib, haram, mustahab, makruh, mubah. So it depends. Again, the region you live in, can you openly curse? Are you allowed? Would be a life, a danger to your life, for example. Again, it depends. But anyhow, if you open the Holy Quran, you will find the word la'in is spread in the Holy Quran.
Yeah.
It's all mentioned. So again, we have to go back to the Quran, as mentioned now, and to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Hadith of Ahlul Bayt, to see how they've dealt with this issue. Did they secretly did the line, for example, or openly? And when you find out, inshallah, you see numerous hadiths with this regard, and that they've used both openly and secretly. Secretly because of being under the tyrants' watch, and they couldn't say. But when they were free, they could observe their freedom, and they mentioned it many times. See the hadith with this regard.
And then we should just follow as they did.
Of course, as I've said, it depends. It depends on the region where you are. Is it wajib? Is it haram? Is it mustahab? Again, it falls on these 5 rulings.
Okay, Sheikh, now we've only got 3 minutes left, so we'll try to answer as many questions as possible. If you are, however, sending your questions in now, any questions that remain, it will then roll over onto the Wednesday episode where we will answer the questions at that time. We've got a question now from YouTube. Why do you think that you know everything about Imam Mahdi?
That who knows about Imam Mahdi? Salamullah alayhi.
I think they mean as a general, as Shia. Why do we think we know everything about the Imam?
No,
Imam
we don't.
Mahdi?
We don't know many things.
Yeah.
We don't know even, let's say, the status, the genuine or the actual status, and the position of Al-Abbas alayhi salam, the son of Ali alayhi salam.
Yeah.
We don't know him. We just know that he is the son of Ali. He fought beside Imam Hussein in Karbala. He was killed and became martyred. He sacrificed himself, his life to the Imam alayhi salam. That's it. We don't know much about him, about his status. We don't know, because we are fallible and they are infallible. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And the fallible cannot contain and understand the infallible.
Ahsan, Sheikhna. I think we have time for one more question. It's asking how to pay khums to my marājiʿ.
Basically, you have to contact their office, either in your local city or in your country, or if you have access to the marājiʿ himself, and somehow you take your, let's say, khumus to the marājiʿ himself, and you basically pay it there. Or if he gives you the ijazah or the permission, as some did, to spend the share of the imam for those who are not being killed and displaced. So you can pay that straight away. So it depends. Yeah.
Ahsan. Thank you very much, Sheikh Nan. Thank you very much for answering all the questions today. Inshallah, for our viewers at home, if you do still have any questions, make sure to tune in on our Wednesday episode from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, where we will be answering your questions once again with Sheikh Ali Ma'ash. So make sure to send in your questions at that time. Make sure to tune in. Inshallah, we'll see you then. Wa alaikum salam.
More than 3,000 members of the Shia Hazara community have been killed since September 2011, according to reports.
Hundreds of Iraqi pilgrims arrive at the house of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi.
On Saturday, the Saudi authorities executed 21 people on other charges.
Taliban abusing humanitarian aid in Afghanistan.
Shia Rights Watch expresses its condemnation on the targeted bombings in the Iraqi capital Baghdad.
There is so much happening that now is the right moment to bring together the biggest stories in one place at one time. It's ambitious, it's a first for the Shia around the world. Join me, Ayoub Nueno, for Shia Waves, live only on Imam Hussein TV free.
With more and more victims of war and poverty, the Middle East has seen a surge in patients seeking medical aid. Iraq alone has 2.4 million people without access to any form of medical assistance. In Afghanistan, due to the lack of funding and devastating conflict, the health service is at breaking point. Imam Hussein Charity aims to help provide a better future for these impoverished patients, aiding them with finances for their prescriptions as well as dialysis of their kidneys. You can help our brothers and sisters with purchases of prescriptions for just £20, and for £200 help a patient with a dialysis procedure. To donate or for more information, visit www.imamhusseincharity.com.
My God, this tribulation has become agonizing.
إلهي أعظم البلاء وبرح الخفاء.
It's now out in the open.